Good afternoon, friends. First of all, you must let me know if you are having any problem in the audio or video. Just message me on WhatsApp so that I can let you. Is there any issue with the audio? Okay, so we have some issues maybe here and there that we'll solve, but we should have our class because there has been a big gap. So we must continue with our essay class. Why I started with the essay class is that because initially when we started with the political essay, we have explained the theory part that how political essay must be written. I gave you a few examples, but as far as I understand from the perception of many of the students that you are not able to write the political essay. So what I will do today, I will take the question which I have given for the test number 2 for essay. One of the questions, one of the topic, I will explain everything and give you some fodder so that you can use that knowledge to write your essay. What you need to do is that I'll explain you the topic, one topic I'll explain to you, another political topic which is given to you in that essay test. You need to attempt the second topic. I will explain the first topic. The first political essay topic is India is no more a thriving democracy. Okay, so this is the topic. We will discuss about the topic. First of all, we must understand what are the basic ideas around which the political topics will be built. Firstly, you must understand that whenever you see a political essay in UPSC examination, most of these political essay will be controversial, like this topic. India is no more a thriving democracy. So, when you are choosing this, or if you are not left with any of the options, as I told you, that how do you choose the topic? Firstly, you should have familiarity with it. You should be familiar, and that familiarity can be achieved, or familiarity can be ascertained if you find the topic closer to your optional as compared to a topic which is closer to the GS, which may give you a faint idea, only a shallow idea. The topic which is closer to your optional will give you a better idea. So those students who belong to PSIR, Political Science International Relations, or a public administration will find it an easy topic. Which topic? This one. India is no more a thriving democracy. Having said so, if you don't have these optionals and still you find that there is no other option, Aditya is saying that some glitch is there. So let me check if the glitch can be corrected and if we are having the glitch still. I'm just pausing the video and I'll just correct the audio. Just wait. Okay, now I have change the audio system. You must tell me, is there a noise or is there a problem still, or we need to do some further changes? Just let me know if there is a glitch or if there is a problem still going on. Can you hear me properly or there is a problem? Just update this to me. So, okay, there are lots of glitches happening, some issues there, but still we will continue with the class because these things happen. Yes, we have corrected the tech issue. Okay, no issues, no problem. These things will happen. Some or the other day you will face these problems. But the idea is to continue. Okay, so India is not a thriving democracy. India is no more a thriving democracy. This topic may look like an anti establishment, anti government topic. So the government of the day, you have to write against them if you get the sense. Now, if you are not left with any of the choices but to attempt this essay, then only you should go ahead with this. Otherwise, if it is a controversial topic, it's very difficult to manage your opinions. But see, as far as UPSC is concerned, UPSC does not go by any biases. There are no biases, there is absolute neutrality, howsoever, whatsoever people might be saying. But if you look at the complete picture, UPSC is not having biases. UPSC is neither left nor right, but more so, UPSC is bothered about your socialism. Socialism, one thing, and UPSC is definitely not working for the government. UPSC comes under Article 315 of the Constitution, that you know, it's a constitutional body. So if you look at the neutrality of UPSC, yes, it is maintained, very much maintained. There is no nobody can point a finger against UPSC as far as the fair treatment of UPSC vis-a-vis the merit is concerned. There might be certain issues, some students who are not well versed, who whose talent is not up to the mark, they get through, yes, because the system of the examination is such that there will always be certain students who, despite the fact that they are not so well prepared, despite the fact that they might be having a lesser IQ, they clear the examination. And there are students, there are aspirants who are way more intelligent, who have all the capabilities to become of becoming a civil servant, becoming a good civil servant, but still they lose out in this race. These things happen. These are the eventualities of life, and that will always happen. So, if you are choosing the topic, you have the arguments, you will be scoring. We will see now how to develop. Whenever we have a political essay, You see what you have to do. Uh, Once you have developed your introduction, after developing the introduction, what is left is, first of all, you have to explain the topic. After explaining the topic, you analyze the topic, analyze and argue. Firstly, you explain the topic. After having gone through the introduction, you explain every dimension of it. So, India is no more a thriving democracy. In this, you have to explain the democracy. What does it mean? What are the aspects of democracy? What does democracy actually mean? For the people, of the people, by the people. This definition you have to give. Then you have to give the real sense of a thriving democracy. Firstly, is your democracy. Then, in that, you have to give the sense of a thriving democracy. What does a thriving democracy mean? When we talk about thriving democracy, we understand there are two sets of people, those who are in the establishment, that is, in the government. People, though, those of the people who are in the government, they are all powerful, they have all the authority, they know everything. Those people who are at the other end, that is, the citizens. The citizens are less powerful, vulnerable, they are always at the mercy of the government. So, when we say thriving democracy, citizens should have more rights against the government. That is, the governance should be good governance. And if we talk about good governance, the most important aspect of good governance, which I have told you in your ethics, integrity, aptitude classes as well, is your accountability. A transparent, accountable government. Simple, moral, accountable, responsive, transparent. This was the complete full form of your good governance. Smart governance is good governance. So, you have to see that from which perspective this topic is being asked. From the perspective of the citizens. From the perspective of the citizens, from the perspective of the citizens, now it is okay, right? The class is not buffering, neither it is having any glitch, I suppose. So, from the perspective of the citizens, the topic says that the democracy is no more thriving. From that perspective, you have to analyze. So, how will you do that? We'll see. What I am saying you to do, what I am telling you to do, first of all, explain the topic. Then, after that, analyze the topic. When we say analyze the topic, what do? You put the arguments. The arguments which are in favor of the topic, the arguments which are against the topic. After having done so, you will persuade. So, persuade. How will we persuade? What will be the idea of persuasion? When we say persuade, once you have developed your set of arguments, when you have given your set of arguments in both sides, that is, India is a thriving democracy, still a thriving democracy. Firstly in favor of it and then against it. In favor, against. Both you have given. And your arguments, as I have told you in political essays, it is very important that your argument should be supported by the facts and theories. You have given your facts and theories as well. Now what to do? Once you have developed your ideas, then what you need to do is, you have to take one side. Now which side to take? Whether it is still a thriving democracy, thriving or not thriving. That choice you have to make. Once you have made the choice based on the objective analysis of all the arguments, and it is expected from you that you have given both the arguments of both the sides elaborately. You have described the articles, you have described the provisions of the constitution, you have described the political culture of the country, you have taken incidents of history, you have taken social aspects, you have taken the aspects from the point of view of the media, you have taken the point of view of the citizens, you have taken the point of view of the different organs of the government, that is legislature, executive, judiciary. You have taken the viewpoint of all these organs. Then only you are giving your side, that is on which side you stand. Once you say that I stand on this side, yes, India is no more a thriving democracy. Now, if you have taken this stand, you have to elaborate upon this completely, give the incidents, and see this argument which you are going to make a choice of finally is the same which you will be doing in the introduction actually. Suppose we start with this topic: India is no more a thriving democracy. What will be our introduction? You will say, as I told you, that it's always good to start with an anecdote. You can put several anecdotes as well, several anecdotes, several facts or several stories, several fables which you have developed, or the several incidents which are happening around you, that you will develop. You will say hundreds of civil servants, hundreds of civil servants, ex-civil servants rather, ex, those who were in the bureaucracy but they retired, they wrote to the president. They wrote to the president. Why did they write to the president? Hundreds of civil servants, ex-civil servants, wrote to the president describing the situation in the country, that country is suffering from autocracy, autocratic behavior. Autocratic behavior of whom? Ruling party. Then minorities feel hurt. Minorities feel scared. I'm not saying that this is the side which we are taking, but if we have to develop this essay, this is the way out. It's an autocratic rule regime. Minorities feel scared. Then our ranking in the political participation, and political culture. As far as these two things are concerned, our ranking in the world has become poorer ranking. The ranking the Indian government is having, the ranking India as a country is having, has become poorer as far as political dynamism is concerned. Celebrating democracy is concerned, there our ranking has become very poor. Now, we have developed the perception. We will add few points later, but this will say that hundreds of civil servants, what anecdote you are giving? Hundreds of civil servants, they wrote to the president that democracy is in danger. Then, in the recent elections, we have seen that the election conducting body is not, or rather not perceived as a fair body. Election Commission of India is not being perceived as a fair body. That is declining faith in the democracy. This is how the perception of democracy is built. The faith of people in democracy is declining. Why? Because the institutions are losing its integrity. You can also mention that, like ED, CBI, Central Vigilance Commission, you might have seen in the news also. These bodies are being used to target the opposition parties. You cannot straight away say that opposition parties are being targeted by the ruling party. You have to say, what you have to say is that it is allegedly. Allegedly, the ruling party is harassing, or the opposition parties, either one party or group of parties, they are being harassed at the behest of the, who is giving the order, at the behest of the ruling party. Is this the decline of the thriving democracy? The answer is yes. But this is not the only report. These are not the only reports. There are several other reports published by the forums, international forums. What do these reports say? Apart from the negative reports, some of the most prominent reports also say that India is still showing the roots of democracy, which are not only strong, but they are spread in a vast geographical expanse. This is a contrary perception. This perception is not the same which you have taken in the initial paragraph or paragraphs. But now we are building our essay towards balanced approach. First, we said that these are the things. Hundreds of civil servants are saying that the firstly we said that the democracy is no more growing, democracy is no more thriving. Then we said no, that's not the complete picture. The complete picture is that democracy had still remained thriving. Still, the Indian democracy thrives. You will say that not only these reports, but what I have observed as well. What does democracy get defined by? You will say that civil liberties are there. We will say that no, that is not true. It's not that the democracy has died. It's not that the democracy is not thriving. It is actually, not only has the democracy remained same, it has actually improved. How it has improved? that we'll see in the later sections. But what we'll also say that reports, international acclaimed reports, the perception of the people, they have huge faith in the government, huge trust and faith. Trust and faith of whom? Citizens having trust and faith in the government. You might have seen this in the current regime. They have faith. They have faith that the democracy is not only being maintained, actually it is thriving. After having written these two arguments, now you will say, let us understand what does a thriving, now you will say, what does a thriving democracy mean? What is the meaning of thriving democracy? Because see, once you know thriving democracy, then only you can explain about it. So you will say, we have seen both parts of the argument through the anecdotes, or you need not even write it, you will just say that it is quite evident that that there are two types of reports, or there are two types of perceptions, two different, starkly different two starkly different set of arguments are put up whether the democracy in India is thriving or not. So before delving deeper into this argument, before analyzing both the sides of the coin, both sides of the argument, we must understand what actually a thriving democracy means. What will happen in the thriving democracy? Firstly, from the point of view of citizens, if you talk about the citizens, there has to be freedom. When we say freedom, what does it mean? Again, go to Article 19. Freedom of speech and expression. Freedom of having a good quality life index. Freedom of choice, the choices you make. And if that freedom is here, and if this freedom is actually expanding, then the democracy is thriving. So what do you think? The freedom is increasing, or freedom is being curtailed? Freedom is decreasing? The answer is, if you look at the civil liberties, civil rights, liberties, or rather liberalism towards the citizens or a group of citizens, that is civil liberties. So you will say that civil liberties is actually not being controlled, but it has improved a lot. How? If you look at the scenario in last decade, in the last decade, what has happened? People have become absolutely intolerant. And if the people have become intolerant, what does it mean? Suppose you subscribe to a view that right wing is the good government. Right wing governed government, that is like BJP or AIADMK, that is the best form of government. You can have your point of view, but do you really think it is correct? Then you will support your idea with the facts. But what about those people who don't subscribe to your view? What about them? Do you consider them to be your enemy? Or do you, by force of your sheer force of your voice, not the content of the argument, you are trying to put them down? This judgment you will make, and then as an intellectual, as a person who is an intellectual, you will listen to the argument from the other side. What are the arguments against it? Now, a liberal person, what will a liberal person do? The liberal person will listen to both sides of the argument, then make a judgment. He or she will not impose his judgment. What has happened? What happens nowadays? It's not about one party. It's not about a coalition. It's not about set of people. It's not about a people from particular religion, be it Hindu or Muslim or Christian, whatsoever. The thing is that each and every group, not only the country has divided itself into several groups. If this is India, then division of India has happened according to different caste, creed, religion, region, everything. And the funniest part, the most controversial part, the part which actually forces us to think whether we are a democracy or not, is that everyone is against the person who is having a different point of view. If you are having a different point of view, they will always try to put you down. They will always try to give some arguments which are not only attacking the argument, they will attack you personally also. This has happened. This keeps on happening. They have given different names to a set of people who support Modi. They have given a separate name to a set of people who support other parties. So what is happening? The intolerance has increased. The both sides, they cannot have their point of view. As I gave you the example earlier in one of the classes, that even if Congress was the only ruling party, even if Nehru had the dominance, Nehru had the powerful personality to charm each and every state. In each of the states, there were a Congress party ruled government. Despite that, the Prime Minister he was making sure that the opposition party leaders, like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, even their viewpoint is accommodated. Or when Mr. Vajpayee became Prime Minister, at that point of time he belongs to BJP. Congress was not demoralized, vilified. So you see the culture, and the same culture which is there in the topmost organizations, they are being copied by others. They are being copied by the citizens also. So people don't want to see eye to eye with those set of citizens, those set of people, those set of institutions who are actually against their viewpoint. This is not the sign of a healthy democracy. In a healthy democracy, what should have happened? The especially the people who are running the country, those people should have taken the viewpoint from the other parties as well. Then if some viewpoint is against our value system, but still at large it helps human being, then this argument should have been taken. Unfortunately, that's not the situation now. What we have right now is independent judiciary, a liberal media, and informed citizenry. These things are there. Apart from that, you can see there are so many cities. Take the example of Delhi. How many people do you think are from Delhi only? Very few. Even if 1% or 1 to 2% maybe of the whole population of Delhi, they are originally from Delhi. So what has happened here? People from North, UP, Bihar, people from eastern part of the country, people from South, even people from West, Gujarat and all, they are staying together. Can we say that the democracy is not thriving in this case? The answer is no. So how you have to develop your argument is, after having given the introduction, after having given different viewpoints from both the sides, then you will define the thriving democracy, its elements, the thriving democracy elements, what all it should have, like all the organs, like legislature, executive, judiciary, are they functioning well? Are they supporting each other? Then there is cooperative federalism. See, these are all part of democracy. You cannot say that in democracy we are discussing only few things. We have to develop our argument according to the organs of the state. The organs of the state are legislature, executive, judiciary. Then there is cooperative federalism. That is, center having any relation with the state. There are so many departments: financial, emergency, executive, legislature, and judiciary. In all, we have an integrated judiciary. So that naturally, that the judiciary in the center, that is Supreme Court, will have to cooperate with the High Court, and High Court will have to be aware about what all judgments Supreme Court has passed. That is natural. But otherwise, whether the state government is cooperating, whether the central government is being supportive of state government or not, that also is the part of democracy. This we talked about the structure of the government. Then we go to the process. In the process, what all will come? Firstly will come your election, the foremost thing, because through election only the governments are elected. First is the election. What happens in the election? Whether Election Commission of India is working in a free, fair and transparent manner or not. This will also be one of the dimensions of thriving democracy. Then what other processes are there? After the election, the government of the day is in the office. How does the government of the day operate? That is their policy formulation, the policies they formulate. Then policy implementation and policy feedback, as I have told you in the ethics, integrity, aptitude class. That is the work of the bureaucracy. First is your organs, how they are functioning. Then in the process, elections are free, fair and transparent or not. Then policies, that is the functioning of the bureaucracy, that is apt or not. Then we'll go to, in the process only, we'll go to other parts, that is how the judiciary is operating. This is structure, this part is structure, and this is the process part, how the judiciary operates. In the structure, when we brought legislature, executive, judiciary, that was just from the point of view of whether legislature, executive and judiciary is having cooperation among each other and checks and balances wherever required. From that point of view, when we are talking about the process here, the judiciary, here we are talking about the judicial process vis-a-vis the citizens. Whether there is fair and just judicial process or not, that we'll see. After that, we'll see how does the media operate. What is, because media is called the fourth pillar of the governance. Fourth pillar of the governance. So whether the fourth pillar of the governance also behaving properly, having the right process or not. Whether the fourth pillar is biased towards the government, whether it is biased or not. Then we'll see finally the behavioral part. In the behavioral part, what we'll see? The political culture. When we are talking about whether we have a thriving democracy or not, we have to talk about the political culture. And as I have told you earlier, what is political culture? Political culture is the perception which citizens have towards the government, and how does the government of the day operate. What is the perception of the people regarding the democracy? These all will analyze from different point of view. Then another way of analyzing whether we have a thriving democracy or not is looking at what we have. That is, everything how our democracy is defined is there in the preamble. If you see the preamble, the important words, sovereign, sovereign, socialist, democratic, then republic. Now, to become a thriving democracy, it is important that these elements are also functioning well, which we have discussed right now. I'm just giving you different viewpoints from which your essay can be developed. Firstly, you will see these elements, how it is happening. Then you go to the history. What has happened to our democracy? We can trace it back from the time when we got independence. 1947. From there only independence, the idea of democracy will come, because democracy was not there earlier. We got independence in 1947, and after that how our democracy has evolved. I have also discussed with you the history of the political development in India, but still again we'll go through it again. What happened? We got the freedom. After getting freedom in 1952, general elections were held and Congress party came to the power. Then, see, in 1947 we were not having general elections. Initially, the government which was elected from the before independence, that was running the country. Interim government, we can say. Then, when the elections were held, which party came to the power? Congress. Who was heading our prime ministerial post? Nehru, PM Nehru. And as I told you, Nehru is called as the last Democrat, last person to believe in the process of democracy, last person to involve himself in the process of democracy. So Nehruvian idea of democracy, although there was few, certainly there were lots of flaws like centralization, like not having the second rung of leadership, these things happened. But if we talk about Nehruvian idea of democracy, it was much better than what it is now. Nehru, he remained prime minister for next 3 terms. In 1964, 27th May 1964, Prime Minister Nehru died. After the death of Nehru, it is called as the democracy also died. So, what happened? How our democracy developed? Then the other leaders like Lal Bahadur Shastri, Morarji Desai, Indira Gandhi, major ones. How did they operate as far as democracy is concerned? We'll see their behavior. We realized that during the regime of Indira Gandhi in 1975, emergency was imposed. The democracy suffered like anything. There was no piece of the government governance, the democratic element in the country which remained untouched by the autocratic, completely biased, undemocratic approach of the government of the day. They put media in conundrum. They put each and every person who was there in the opposition in jail. There was autocracy throughout the country. The major dip in the democracy. Major dip in the democracy. Then, moving forward, in the same element, what happened? Governors. As the democracy progressed, as India progressed, the constitution was not being followed in letter and spirit. what happened? Governors, they started behaving, they started taking orders from the central government, they started playing with the democratic spirit of the state governments. They interfered in the day-to-day administration of the state government. They made the life of state governments very difficult if they were from the other party. If they were not from the same party which is in the center, they behaved erratically, irrationally. Another dip in the democracy. Then moving further, because of the coalition, to maintain the coalition, the democratic principles were completely done away with. People did not follow the democratic principles. Bribe, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha bribe case. To ensure that that time the government, whichever government was there, to make them safe, to ensure that in the floor test they pass the floor test, bribery was done. Another dip in the democracy. Then what happened? As the history progressed, we realized that the government, UPA, United Progressive Alliance, during that regime, what happened? Policy paralysis. Policy paralysis. The government, the Prime Minister was not able to take any decision. The decisions were taken by the President of the Congress Party. So there came a policy paralysis. The democratic principles were not followed in letter and spirit. Now, after that, of course, there was charges of corruption against the government. There were several other charges in different regimes, but this was major. 2G scam, coal scam. Then the current government came in 2014. Then we can see what we said, what we rather summarized in the introduction. What is happening here? We see that the civil liberties have lost. Civil liberties dipped. Freedom of expression, no more there. Tolerance, not there. The country is reeling in under lots of division. The organs of the government not functioning well. In lieu of this, under various reports, it has been quoted that the democratic principles of the government has been completely done away with. It's no more a thriving democracy what it used to be. But having given different instances where democracy took a dip, you must realize that every time our democracy took a dip, some or the other incident brought us back into the mainstream. This is the robustness of Indian democracy. Robust Indian democracy. As we say that we have a robust Indian economy, likewise we have a robust Indian democracy. And you know why it is a robust Indian democracy? Because whosoever illiterate the people of the country might be, whosoever uninvolved in the political process the people of the country might be, whosoever biased the media might be, whosoever biased the functioning of the different organs of the government and the processes of the government, like judiciary being biased, like media being biased, like ED, CBI all being used against the opposition party people. But At the end of the day, to utter surprise of everyone, we find that democracy bounces back, as it happened during 2013 in the last regime. Corruption charges, the charges of policy paralysis. But after Anna movement, where Anna Hazare, he along with Arvind Kejriwal, Kiran Bedi and various other crusaders, they fought against the corruption, they fought against the principles of corruption being followed by the government of the day. We saw that in the current government, the corruption has decreased like anything. Bureaucratic power, what it used to be earlier, has been seized so that it cannot be used. As I told you, the more the discretion, the more secrecy, more is the corruption. Can you see one thing throughout the lecture? You must have realized initially there was some technical glitches, then few other issues also, because of which the streamlining was not done. After that, it's been running seamlessly. You'll realize that whatever content of the essay is there, we have it through our ethics, integrity, aptitude classes. So when you are saying that you are not finding content to write the paper, the thing is, see, firstly, you must be aware about the political process. Yes, constitution, which you must be, of course, you have to pass the prelims. It's very important that if you don't pass prelims, then how will you write mains? How will you cover this essay paper? The thing is that the basic idea you definitely have. Why you are not able to write? Because you have never tried. Once you start trying, and because of that I am explaining this, you have the fodder. You see, you have the fodder. It's only about the confidence. See, a problem is a problem until you find a solution. And where there is will, there is definitely is a way. If you want to find a solution, you will definitely do. Fodder is concerned, as far as content is concerned, I have given you several ways. Structure, process, behavior of the government. You see thriving democracy, whether it is thriving democracy, yes. Whether it is thriving democracy, no. Give the argument in favor of both of them. Then analyze what does thriving democracy mean. Finally, give your persuasive viewpoint that yes, India is a thriving democracy based on these facts. That will be a wonderful essay. So, you see that in this regime of the government, the corruption has decreased. Like anything, there is more focus on the openness of the government, and business is being the focus of the developing India. Not that the government will do everything, not that the centralization will be done. So, every time the government, every time the democratic principles, thriving democracy principles got challenged, every time democracy took a dip, the country bounced back. Because of what? The wisdom of the citizens. Wisdom of the citizens. Because, as I told you, howsoever difficult the situation might be, howsoever problematic situation might be, and whatever we may say that our people are not involved in the politics, they are just biased, they just get carried away by WhatsApp university or media perception and all. People vote for work. People vote for the development. And it's a sad fact that the country, the large part of the country, is still poor, illiterate. Poverty, illiteracy, so many other problems in the society, regionalism, all these things are there. So the people who are living in that fatalistic situation, fatal, somehow they say that God is making us survive. People are so scared. Why do you think that more businesses open in Silicon Valley of USA, and why there are very less business in India? Why we don't have a very big organization? Why still the realms of the country, whether it is rural or urban and all, they always want a secure job, a government job? It's not that. See, when you are preparing for UPSC, when you are preparing for civil services, the idea is absolutely different. When you are trying to become a civil servant, a neutral, anonymous, efficient civil servant who can take the country forward, that idea is altogether different. But when you have people who are masters, who are PhD, and they are filling up the form to become a constable, then everyone in the every political party, every political leader, every civil servant, and every part, every nook and corner of the country should cry out loud that something is deeply wrong with the country. Most of the people, the large part of the country, they are under this fatal situation, somehow surviving. How will we be able to wade through the vagaries of life? When the situation is so difficult, how will they be able to think about the betterment of the country? So, despite so many efforts, still the large part of the country who votes for the government of the day, they are looking for basic amenities. Basic amenities. Roti, kapda, makan. They want a bread and butter. They want a shelter. They want a job and employment so that they can sustain their life in a dignified manner. Look at the situation. That is why a government like this government, which is a Modi government, whatever the media might be saying, whatever it is there in the perception, the social media and other parts of the governance, they have been able to complete their projects. Project completion. In a much better way as compared to the earlier government. And once you see, if you have to make a choice between worse and worst, worse and worst, whom will you choose? You will choose the worst, definitely. This is what is happening. People don't find any alternative. And especially if you see that the projection of the leader from the other parties is that they are weak leaders. We have a strong leader in Modi. The perception regarding Modi across the globe is that he is a strong leader, he is a decisive leader, he is a disciplined leader. He knows how to ensure that we are safe. Majority of the country being Hindu, this thought process resonates with them. But if they are not able to work, the people will not vote them. People are voting in favor of them because they have been able to complete their promises. That is a very big fact which the media channels ignore. You may say several things that I'll be able to provide you employment and not resonating on the ground. In this department, employment, the Modi government has also failed miserably. In the department of the economic progress, it has failed miserably. In the department of the social harmony, it has failed miserably. Despite these failures, since they have been able to meet the targets of their flagship programs, the people are voting in favor of them. It's as simple as that. So, if we talk about a thriving democracy, you saw that yes, there are challenges which you have summarized in the introduction itself through anecdotes. Hundreds of civil servants wrote letter to the president showing their concerns as far as the recent incidents in the country is concerned, where minorities were attacked, where the government machinery is being used against the opposition parties, where the decisions are being taken at the top level in an autocratic manner. Then there is an opposite report which says that the democracy is still thriving despite challenges, the things are still fine, and it is one of the best governance. If you compare the Indian situation with the Chinese government, you'll find that you have lots of freedom. What happens? We don't appreciate what we have. We are always looking for something which we don't have. That's how the human mind behaves. If you start being satisfied with what we have likeliness of growing further. Students also say, sir, आज तो 6 घंटे पढ़ा. You have to be happy that you studied only 6 hours, but those 6 hours were very intense 6 hours. I completed only modern history, only Rajiv Vahir, not Shekhar Bandyopadhyay. Are Shekhar Bandyopadhyay is not needed. I completed only Lakshmi Kant. I don't know. I have to complete yellow book, orange book, purple book, every book. If you complete all the books, do you really think you will become a civil servant? The answer is no. UPSC examination is actually very simple. And to ensure that you clear with a clutter-free mind, you will have to first and foremost define your target. How many books you want to study and which books are the original sources? Make a list. How much time you are going to take to complete this book? Make a program. When you have completed certain topic in the prelims, then see which are the questions asked from this topic. Solve them. I'll tell you, solve 10,000 questions. 100 tests. Minimum 100 tests. If you can solve 200 tests. You'll definitely clear prelims. If you solve 100, then also. The problem is that we make things complex because we don't have the understanding of the basics. When we realize that our idea is to clear prelims, what is required? You have to score 110, 120 to be on the safer side, depending upon the paper. If the paper is very difficult, then whatever you can attempt. This in paper 1, and then the paper 2, that is CSAT, you have to just clear the cutoff. That is your 30%. So for that, what is required? That you have a practice for all the sections, not only one section in the CSAT. Here also all the sections should be not only completed through the authentic source, but revision should also be there. Because see, most of the people, they don't clear exam because they are not sure which option is correct, whether this or this. Most of the time the problem happening because of the choice between two equally good options. Two options being equally good, you are confused which one to choose. But if you have done a proper revision, you will be able to choose the right option. So, as far as fodder is concerned, is given. India is no more a thriving democracy. This topic I have discussed. I have given you some ideas how to think about a topic when it is a political topic. Most of the things have been discussed. What should be the content? What we need to do, you see, I have given you the content. Let's do the hand holding. I have given you the content for this essay. You write this one essay only. All of you write this one for which I have given you the content. Then you submit your essays to me. I'll evaluate and see whether you are able to express the viewpoints which I have given to you. Then if needed, I will conduct another session and give you a write-up also. I was a bit involved in certain things. That's why the notes could not reach you. Notes will be given to you. You need not worry, because now uh, uh, I'm also thinking of covering the syllabus so that you are left free and you are able to clear prelims. That's because it becomes very it is very difficult for me also, that you are putting in so much of hard work, and uh, God forbid the prelims does not happen, which happened in the last year. Many of the very good students, they were very well prepared also. I don't know what happened in the examination, they could not clear. And it is not only a cycle of 1 year, it is actually a burden on your mind, burden on your heart. And next time when you go, don't feel anxious. The experience which you have gained through last failure will be there with you if you think in a positive manner, never think negative. So write this topic only, go through this lectures recording, jot down few points, then I will conduct another session. Let's wrap up this essay thing as well. Then tomorrow again let's have an essay lecture. I will explain this political essay, another topic, in a bit elaborate and more energetic manner as compared to today, because there were so many glitches and that actually affects my rhythm. So we'll conduct the session tomorrow again for the essay. As far as timing is concerned, I will update you. Most probably the timing may be the same, this one. Then for the other parts like ethics, integrity, aptitude, only a few topics are remaining in the theory part. Then we'll do our case study. In the case study, it's very easy, because I'll be putting up the case study on the screen, which you can see. We'll be solving the case study, uh, having the steps. Then the test will be conducted. You can write the test, and whenever required, I'll definitely handhold. In case a few things are not finished, or rather you are not very satisfied, don't worry about that. You go and prepare for the prelims. After prelims also, I'll be conducting a session for psychology, essay, ethics, all these three parts, and you'll be able to complete your psychology, essay and ethics for those who are having psychology, and most of you are having psychology as an optional. In 2 months, psychology, essay, ethics, just after prelims. My only humble request is that prepare for prelims really well, because see, once you gain the confidence for prelims and having done well in the prelims, that will remain with you in the main examination. And since the gap between prelims examination and mains is very less, then you may not be able to prepare too much. So don't worry about that. You prepare your optional, you prepare the essay, and you prepare the GS paper 4. In all these three papers, if you do really well, I can promise you that you need not worry about the all other three papers, because there if you score even 75 marks, and here you are able to score out of the optional essay and ethics 600 marks, which is very much possible. I was going to I evaluated the ethics paper. Some of you had written the first test, the second test, they were huge difference. And let me tell you one thing, I have talked to various people who were studying ethics, integrity, aptitude at various platforms, some at Lukman, some other at Vajiram. So, definitely the coachings are existing since long, these coachings are there. But after having studied, they are not able to write the answers. That's a very big challenge for them. But what I saw, the students here, they wrote brilliant answers despite the fact that I have not even given much of content. I know that I did not give you the written content. Just by going through the lectures, you people have written excellent answers. And if you write like this, nobody can stop you from scoring 140 plus in your examination. Okay. So December month we'll conduct, we'll do all the seamless classes. It may go up to January, maybe end, but everything will be covered. February, March, April and mid of May, 100 days you give to prelims. Do work hard, that's it. Prelims clear करने का एक ही तरीका है, hard work, hard work, hard work. If you know everything, nobody can stop you from clearing the examination. But don't consult the books which are not standard. We are going to conduct our prelims strategist videos. In those videos you can see the list of the books. Bhavna ma'am will be conducting that. list of the books, the strategy, the planning, everything she will be covering. How to choose the options, how to eliminate the options, which was not done in earlier videos, which I saw that were not very up to the benchmark, up to the standard which we vouch for. Now we'll be bringing the standard videos. So you can see that if you want to view our daily affairs demystified, that also comes on our channel. This channel underscore IAS, MJ underscore IAS. You can see this daily affairs demystified, DAD, through which you will get to know mains from the point of view of mains, from the point of view of prelims, whatever questions can be there, whatever the important topics are, these all will be covered there. So need not worry. Go through the content of the class, try to write the topic. In case you face any issue, you must let me know. Tomorrow again we'll conduct the essay session. Thank you very much for joining.